On this episode of That Kingsville Podcast, Open Streets starts. Hooray! Woo. And then we go in depth. We dive deep all the way. We take a look at the facilities review for the Town of Kingsville and analyze each of the 14 different properties.
We start in the high dive, we go all the way to the bottom.
And I'm going to say this because
with a thud.
Yeah, we just finished the episode. Please, if this even remotely interests you, July 17th, 5 p.m., Grovedale Arts and Culture Center. It's a committee of the whole meeting. Kevin does a very good summary of everything that's going down at the end of the episode, but we take a look at each of the different properties, what the assessment says, and then offer our input. So please, if this even remotely interests you, the Town of Kingsville Facilities Review Report, listen to this episode, speak up, have your say. Kingsville.ca is the website where the Town of Kingsville is looking for your input as well. Stay tuned.
Crack a check logger, put your feet up.
Yeah. Thank you, Kingsville Brewery. And enjoy. Stay tuned for That Kingsville Podcast. That Kingsville Podcast proudly brought to you by Kingsville Brewery. Guys, the beer garden's open. Yep. Summer hours now in effect.
I've been. It was good.
Wednesday to Sunday, 11 a.m. till sunset. What better place to spend an evening or an afternoon
Or a day.
The whole day
on at the beer garden.
Yeah, just
wake up.
put on your suntan lotion.
Live music regularly. Full product offering down there and some merch. Check it out.
Check it out. Well done.
Oh, I did a thing. Look at that.
Thank you, Kingsville Brewery, for supporting That Kingsville Podcast. Welcome to That Kingsville Podcast. I'm your host, Dave, Kevin, Steve.
Sup?
Happy Canada Day, everyone. I know it's over, but it was a little bit of a wet weekend, but it kind of cleared up. You guys joined us at our Canada Day party, so thank you for attending.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
Fun.
Well, it wasn't as wet as last year.
Or injury prone.
Injury prone.
The sun came out when I got there.
It did. And actually it was lovely because, you brought the sunshine, both, physically and in the sky.
Thanks, Dave.
But yeah, a lot of fireworks over the last few days. I don't know if you guys saw it last night, 4th of July being celebrated all over Kingsville as well.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Totally oblivious.
Yeah. Was it right here? Yeah, in the park on Prince Albert. Yeah, no, we could see it from our backyard. It was quite a show, and hopefully nothing broken. Good.
How did I miss that?
Oh,
yeah,
it
not
was
a clue.
It was 9:30ish last night. Yeah, no, good. Anyway, celebrations. It's summer, official kickoff to summer kind of thing, right? So here we are, and the fish flies for the most part stayed away so far. Not like the rest of the county, as I hear. Or Monroe, Michigan. Apparently, it was so thick in Monroe, you couldn't see. So for whatever reason, we were spared so far.
Yeah, Toledo was getting it at the beginning. And then it seemed to
subside.
The winds shifted. The winds have changed.
The winds have changed. So, now this weekend, this Saturday, and you'll probably be listening to this as it's released, it's the first open streets in the schedule for Town of Kingsville. So it's the Lego, walking on Lego on the streets.
Yep. Filling the street with Lego. They changed it.
Did
not
they?
That anymore.
Was it because we
I don't know. Maybe.
These streets aren't full of Lego. Misrepresentation.
They want to temper expectations, maybe.
Yes.
In case people showed up expecting to see giant vats of Lego.
Well, they had to build it up.
But
oh, there it is.
I love this. Yeah, no. So open streets, I think we'll make an appearance, whatnot. My daughter's got a job, working for one of the restaurants, so I can't wait to see how she deals with open streets crowds.
So question, if your daughter's working at one of the restaurants, do you go to the restaurant and watch, or do you go to a restaurant across the street and watch from a distance?
We may have gone across the street and watched from a distance. It is her first job, right? Like, you don't want to intimidate the kids and, why are you guys here? I don't know if I'm going to do it right.
Do you figure she can't see you across the street?
I'm gonna hope not.
Yeah,
but,
okay.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. You're going to go incognito,
Yeah.
maybe wear like a mustache.
I'll grow hair.
Yeah.
Who's that guy in that really flowing mane like
What's
Fabio?
with the blonde wig, Dave?
Yeah, well, hey, wouldn't be the first time, but yeah, no. There you go. Here's the second major thing in the summer in Kingsville. Highland Games went off without a hitch. Apparently, over 1,000 people attended out at the Jack Miner Sanctuary, and fun had by all. So hey, there's the first event in town, and now we're rolling with the summer schedule. So,
I wonder how many kilts they sold.
Oh, it's not a town event anymore. We can't FOI the information.
No, we can't find out. No. I'm sure Doug would tell us.
Doug would tell us.
But yeah, I always wonder, how many yards did they sell this year?
I don't. But when it was the initial purchase, that was a substantial amount of money to pay.
It just,
plaid.
It just is one of those weird things, quirky things. I just feel like we need to keep tabs on. How many are they down to a couple yards yet? We need to replenish the kilt.
Sorry, sir. What size waist are you? 36. You better. You want. We got enough for a 32.
Sorry.
So hit the gym. Work it off. Well, that's not the only major thing that's happening in Kingsville lately. A lot of hubbub around facilities review.
Would you say hullabaloo?
Hullabaloo. A lot of people that are concerned with some of the report findings. So we want to take this episode and dive in real deep, right in the deep end of the facilities review report that was adopted by the Committee of the Whole. So first and foremost, Kevin, can you refresh everyone's memory about who the Committee of the Whole is and what their terms of reference are?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Committee of the Whole, if you read the Town of Kingsville's website currently, it says that they're an advisory-only committee to council, and it lists the members of the committee. It actually erroneously says that all members of council and 2 staff members are on the committee, which obviously isn't true. It's a typo. So it's all members of council are part of the committee. And then it can have a different chair than council. Obviously, council's chair is the mayor, Mr. Rogers, but Committee of the Whole has a different chair. So weirdly, the terms of reference actually were on the town's website until March of 2023, when using the Wayback Machine, the Internet Archive, I looked up to see when they had edited it because I remembered them being there. So in March, they removed them, but thanks to the Internet Archive, nothing on the internet's ever deleted. So we have the terms of reference available to us. And I'm going to read. So there's the terms of reference. It's a document. You can hear it.
It is. It's real.
Here it is. It's things on a page. But what I think is important is that we lay out, yes, it is an advisory committee, but the committee does indeed have decision-making powers.
Yes.
And here's how the terms of reference are written. And again, this is the way a terms of reference outlines the way that a committee is supposed to operate. So council should follow the terms of reference. You can usually argue against decisions if they don't follow terms of reference. But regardless, here are the terms of reference. So under procedural matters, which is 3.3 of the terms of reference, the procedural bylaws shall govern the proceedings of the Committee of the Whole meetings, which is the same. Basically, that says operates the same as council. Committee of the Whole shall make recommendations to council, which shall be recorded and then brought forward by the clerk to council for consideration at council's next regularly scheduled meeting or as soon thereafter as practicable. Is that a word?
Practicable? Steve, come on, your walking dictionary.
Practicable?
What?
That's a new one.
I'm going to Google that one.
And I'll continue. So that basically is the advisory portion that it mentions, and that most people knew Committee of the Whole was. So that's saying it can make recommendations to council, much like former committees could do. Now, 3.3.3 says, Committee of the Whole shall give direction to administration through the CAO if, in the opinion of the CAO, the direction of the Committee of the Whole will impact existing priorities of Council or is in conflict with any prior direction of Council, the CAO shall seek clarification in the form of a written report to Council at a subsequent meeting of Council. And then all recommendations to Council and direction to administration shall be made by way of motion by the Committee of the Whole to ensure that Council and administration understand the will of the committee. Direction to administration from individual members of the Committee of the Whole is not permitted. So, just to double check, I did ask whether or not the recommendations that are included in the report were able to go forward. And so it was confirmed by CAO John Norton that indeed, as presented in the report that we're going to be talking about, there are recommendations, and they include both recommendations to Council and direction to staff.
Yes.
And according to CAO John Norton, which according to the terms of reference, he's the one that can make that determination.
Yep.
They are able to direct administration to move forward with the things that are listed there. So what that means is, as we go through discussing in the recommendations, there are things that are recommendations to Council. There are also things that are direction to administration. So if those directions to administration are approved by the Committee of the Whole on July 17th, it would be expected then that the administration would begin acting on those directions before anything would go to Council.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Just wanted to make sure we laid the groundwork for the discussion moving forward.
And practicable is a word. Able to be done or put into practice successfully.
Practicable.
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 Well,
All right.
there you go.
All right. Well, then.
And you learn something
now we've learned
new
two
every
things.
day. Hey!
Good legalese right there.
Well, I'll tell you what, Slay. Okay. A little bit of introduction about the facilities building review. Please bear with us. I understand. We just want to set the table on this subject so that,
We're all on the same
page.
Yeah.
Kingsville's council is focused on creating a long-term vision for the community. This includes ensuring that the town owns modern building facilities and can meet the community's needs now and in the future. On March 16th, 23, the mayor and council announced the commencement of a facilities review as a top priority for 23. A building facilities review includes the analysis of each facility's general physical condition, anticipated future costs of maintenance and repairs, and evaluated current and future uses. The review included a cost-benefit analysis of the value of capital repairs and the option of sale or demolition of existing buildings. The review includes consultation with user groups and the opportunity for residents to provide input. July 17th.
At 5 p.m.
5 p.m., July 17th. You're going to hear that quite a lot, too. This building facilities review is just the start of a long-term plan for town-owned facilities. Additional work and decisions are required. The town hired Mr. Terry Fink to lead the review. Mr. Fink has been the manager of Atlas Tube Center and Marina for the town of Lakeshore and director of culture and recreation for the town of LaSalle. He's been a consultant with the Province of Ontario Ministry of Culture and Recreation. The following facts became apparent during the initial phases of the facilities review. The town of Kingsville owns a large number of older buildings. Some of the town's buildings are in need of costly repairs and upgrades. Some buildings are underutilized. A number of buildings have similar uses. The town does not have some types of facilities to meet community needs. This does not include a pool.
Thank God.
Don't go there.
We
We will not say that word
again,
further.
the P word. The town has inadequate storage facilities. Council chambers, town offices, and public works yard are undersized for today's needs. The focus of the facilities review has been placed on 14 buildings owned by the town. As of the end of May 23, Mr. Fink has met and listened to members of facility user groups, staff, and members of town council. He reviewed materials available on each of the buildings, including assessments on physical condition, expected repairs, and past and future proposed usage. He was tasked with reviewing the provincial expectations for public buildings, including the need for them to be physically accessible. Mr. Fink has reviewed the provincial financial mandate that the town develop operating and capital reserves for long-term maintenance and asset management plan. 14 buildings are subject of this facilities review. They have set up a website, haveyourSayKingsville.ca, and this is where you can find this information. This is where we're getting this for this conversation. So, of the 14 buildings, we're going to go chronologically as they appear on the website. So the first building in question, the Ezra Fox Municipal Building at 1695 Elgin Street in Ruthven. This is serving as the Ruthven Library. The recommended action that the Committee of the Whole recommend to Council that the Ezra Fox Municipal Building be deemed as surplus to the needs of the municipality as per policy. 2, that administration be directed to obtain a market appraisal of the Ezra Fox Municipal Building and sell the property. 3, that the treasurer be directed to deposit the proceeds of the sale of the Ezra Fox Municipal Building to the facility life cycle reserve for future use. 4, that administration be directed to meet with the Essex County Library to relocate resources and service hours from the Ruthven Library to the Kingsville Library on Main Street West. And 5, that administration be directed to meet with the Ezra Fox family to rededicate the plaque from the Ezra Fox Memorial Library to a prominent location in the Kingsville Library to recognize Ezra Fox's commitment to a public library for the town of Kingsville. So some background. The Ezra Fox Municipal Building is a 2-story building of solid brick and wood construction. The building is approximately 2,300 square feet, split between the Ruthven branch of the Essex County Library, accessible at the front of the building at grade, and a space leased to house a private Ruthven Montessori Academy daycare, accessible from the lower grade at the rear of the building. Building was opened in 1989. As the Ruthven branch of the Essex County Library, strategically across from Ruthven Public School. In 2013, the school was closed, and the new owners of the Mennonite Church that is not engaged with the library system. The library operates a total of 16 hours a week at this branch. In 2006 and 2007, Essex County Library reported that the Ezra Fox Memorial Library had over 500 memberships, which has declined to approximately 200 in the first quarter of 2023. Tangible circulation has similarly dropped from a high of just under 12,000 in 2005 to 605 from the first quarter of 2023. The overall decline in membership and circulation can be linked to school closing, despite significant residential development in the area during the same period. By comparison, Woodsley reported population of 100 versus population of 200 for all of Ruthven, has a total membership of 539 in the first quarter of 23 and circulation of 2,844 in the same period. Financial considerations. Capital replacement value of the property is set at $1.938 million. So, for the Ezra Fox building, here's the discussion. The needs assessment. The general condition of the exterior and interior of the building are very good. The heating and air conditioning the heating and air conditioning unit for the library was replaced in 2023. Air conditioning unit for the Montessori is at its end of life due for replacement. Each unit costs approximately $15,000. Both washrooms need to be updated, and flooring should also be scheduled for replacement. Ruthven Library Ezra Fox Memorial Building.
So it's, what's funny, and Steve, I think you were there too, when the parents were arguing about the closure of the Ruthven Public School, and they had an assembly, and the board was there, and the parents argued that closing the school would end up shutting their town down.
Right.
And the board argument at the time, if I remember right, was that it's okay because you're still going to have the services available to you because there's a library across the street, and we don't know if the residential development will ever happen that's being proposed, so we can't include it in our plans. So it looks like the only part that actually happened was the residential development. And now they're looking at closing down the one center in that town that really it's the only municipal building. It's the only thing you can even refer to provide any sort of community location. It's whether or not the use of the library is good, but you could argue that a lot of people, because it's been closed for so long, the hours were fluctuating. Is that why people aren't using it?
Oh, guaranteed. It was closed through COVID. Mm-hmm. They just reopened it this spring.
Yeah.
I'd argue that, to me, this is a no-brainer. That even though the community's growing, there's more residents, you close it. You've got a beautiful facility in Kingsville and another one in Leamington. And I get it. The people in Ruthven, if anyone in Ruthven is listening to me right now, they're cursing me up and down. I understand that. But in the day and age of consolidation, in the day and age of amalgamation, if you will, for 16 hours a week, for declining usage, it doesn't make sense. If I'm running the town, which is effectively a business, this one, I'm gonna look to sell.
I think they're also suggesting that because of the Montessori possibly taking over the entire building. Like there's a tenant that could possibly be sold or have the building sold to rather than it staying vacant.
Oh, I would think it would sell no problem. That building's not going to be vacant, but it's not going to be open for the public.
Right.
And that's what...
Well, and the property you could even just rebuild, refurbish. There's a lot you could do with it. I see where in the report, I understand this one. I really do. I think it makes sense to close the library, unfortunately. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan. Like, my daughter is a voracious reader. My son put a book in front of him and he won't stop. It's getting the book in front of him. But so I value reading and I value books, but it just, big picture, it makes sense to close.
I would agree with you if it was just going to be a library, but I think that there's an opportunity, and maybe they haven't looked at it close enough, to offer some minimal ability to access municipal services there, like pay your taxes, like any pick up garbage calendars, like any of the things that the very minuscule non-staff necessary tasks that happen at town hall, you can provide in Ruthven and you can provide in Cottam.
Sure, but then
now you're losing the ability to provide that service.
And it's a valid point. I just, again, when they're looking, I mean, it says in the report they have so many facilities that they have a lot of facilities,
right?
But one in Ruthven.
So okay, so let's if we can take this back a little bit really quick and just go through some of the history. Obviously, the town hall is where it is for a reason. Basically, from what I recall from amalgamation, they moved town hall. They switched the OPP station, the former Gosfield South OPP station, and the town hall. They flipped them, more or less. Mm-hmm. And town hall was put there because they knew they had pushback from residents of the what was now the community of Kingsville, especially in the northern area. So part of the reason they put town hall there was to say, okay, we're moving the town hall out of the old proper Kingsville to say, okay, here's sort of an olive branch. It's more central. It's easier access for our residents in the north. They didn't look obviously beyond simply the growth. And I think if it says in the report, I think further along about, the town hall doesn't have.
Well, that's coming up next.
Right. So we'll get to that. I won't go into too much detail, but I think, again, you're going to have to staff that. People aren't necessarily going to want to be isolated, if you will. And I get it. They're getting paid to be there. But I think part of the too is you're going to lose a team camaraderie. You're going to have one or two people. Maybe you do it on a rotating basis.
I guarantee that there is a company out there that offers an ability to do it through a kiosk.
Yeah, guaranteed.
And you could set up a kiosk. Yeah. No different than you can go and renew your plates at a kiosk. Like it's...
So, yeah. I also agree. Liquidate. It's a necessary evil. It's $1.9 million of valuation that probably on the real estate market with today's valuation not going to sell for 1.9, but
yeah. And to that point, when we go through some of the other buildings and some of the prices that have been estimated as to what is needed, there's got to be some give in order to get the take.
Yeah.
And this is one where if they can, get some money for it, they can put it into some of the other facilities. There's one in particular.
Well, we get there.
No, I know. And I'm just saying there's one in particular coming up that is,
Town Hall, 2021 Division Road North. The recommended action. 1, that administration be directed to explore new opportunities for the use of the municipal facility located at 2021 Division Road North. And 2, that administration be directed to explore other potential locations for Town Hall through the use of a feasibility study. So
before we get,
Yep.
one thing I did forget to bring up about Ruthven, I apologize. The one thing, and it does come up a couple other times in this report that we should mention, is that town staff is being directed by the committee of the whole to sell the property.
Yes.
And they're being told by the committee of the whole what to do with the money after the building is sold.
Yes.
Before it's actually deemed surplus by council.
Correct.
So administration, now we all know that nothing happens that fast, but technically administration is going to be told by the committee of the whole, if the recommendations are approved, to sell the building.
So back to Town Hall, 2021 Division Road North. Town Hall located on 3.5 acre property, includes public parking off Division Road and fronting Public Works and Environmental Services Yard, provides municipal services for residents of Kingsville and hosts public council meetings and other committee meetings. In addition, the Town Hall provides general administrative offices for approximately 40 staff. Capital replacement value of the property is set at $4.556 million. So for discussion, needs assessment. Town Hall has exceeded its capacity and expansion is further limited by septic tank capacity. In addition, council chambers has limited space for community delegations, and alternative locations for council meetings have IT communication challenges. So see the Grovedale.
Yep.
Having public works and environmental services located on the same site of municipal offices creates safety conflicts between core business operations and staff and the public. County road statistics show approximately 7,000 vehicles per day drive by, making it dangerous access at times, especially since the town is operating heavy equipment. The present town hall is viewed only as a place to pay taxes and complete business transactions and is not viewed as a source of civic pride. It is not the anchor point of a civic plaza where the community can gather and has very limited opportunities to show leadership in public landscapes and spaces. I did not know that a building was responsible for all of that, but apparently an inanimate object is supposed to lead the community. Civic pride.
Can you name a town hall that's
LaSalle, probably, where Mr.
Oh, well, yeah, they have like a concrete pad beside the town hall.
Toronto.
Well, yeah. Thanks.
No, okay,
Thanks,
so here's the thing but I was just going to say so show me a town in Essex County that has that in a town hall.
None.
But so saying that is, I mean, when Leamington constructed their new town hall a few years ago, they were vilified by people in the public. Like, what is this? That for the size and everything like that. And you don't hear any complaints about it now. At least I don't. Maybe there still are, but you know, they needed that facility. They recognized the growth. And I know Kingsville's was renovated a few years ago, but man,
yeah,
a long way to go to. So
yeah, like,
so do you think they just go back to the old study and just, put a new date on it? Because they just did this not that long ago.
They did. And
5 years ago?
Something like that. I don't know.
Well, I guess this is an interesting one. It's obvious it's needed, and those are valid points when you think about, you've got especially in the wintertime, you've got your salt trucks and everything coming out of the same facility that people are going in to get a building permit taxes. Or pay their taxes or do whatever, harass the mayor. I look at it and I think, okay, so Leamington's town hall, their works yard is separate from where their town hall is.
Of course, because it was an existing facility. That was a works yard.
So do we look at it and say what makes most sense is maintain that as the sort of the public works yard and facility and everything like that? And where do you build a new town hall?
Well, we'll get into more of that as we go through this report. Kevin, any other points? No. All right.
That's it.
Public Works and Environmental Services Yard.
Do we really do they need to do the study though? They just did it.
I agree. So the Environmental Services Yard, 2021 Division Road North, as we were just speaking, behind Town Hall. The recommended action: the Committee of the Whole direct administration to complete a review of the yard and buildings for Public Works and Environmental Services located at 2021 Division North. And there's a whole lot of just detail about what the yard is that I'm not going to bore us with. But the replacement values on the property, the salt dome,
right?
$248,000.
I think this is important.
I'll get back to it. Okay. Enviro Shop, $518,000. The Public Works Shop, $799,000. The Enviro Pole Barn, $476,000.
It's an expensive pole barn.
For the facility use. Today, the site has mixed uses that were never intended to be associated with a working yard, including the increase in number of town hall employees that require parking spaces that work at town hall, as well as increased number of visitors attending town hall post-amalgamation, and increased interest in attending council and other meetings that take place at town hall. The increased demand for municipal vehicles that require parking spaces, and the increased demand of outdoor storage of seasonal equipment, large service delivery trucks entering the yard to deliver gravel and salt. So for discussion, the Public Works and Environmental Services yard and buildings are operating beyond their original capacity, and the buildings are nearing the end of their life cycle. And like I said, back there, we're looking at $1.5, a couple mil just for the yard.
For Public Works yard.
Yep.
It's like expensive salt dome.
Salt dome.
It is though, right?
It's
like,
an impressive salt
It
dome.
is an impressive
Yeah,
salt
but can't they just put up like one of those giant tent things that
and
like the like put a couple storage bins on either side? Like I see them on Facebook all the time. You have like a tarp that goes over top.
Yeah. And then the first big storm that we seem to get, the century storms that happen every 2 or 3 years.
No, you bolt it down.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
Yeah,
That's not happening.
no, it's not. All right.
So yeah, more services, more roads, right? We're getting new subdivisions. That means more trucks that are needed to service the area. Let's see what the report says. Kingsville
The reality is every single winter storm, like if there's snow on the ground, it's a winter storm event because we don't have enough plow trucks. So if that gets us more plows and my street will be plowed, then that's cool.
Just spending that tax dollar money willy-nilly.
Crank it up.
Kingsville Recreation Complex and Arena, 1741 Jasperson Drive. I don't know which Jasperson, but one of the two. The recommended action that administration be directed to obtain an engineering report for structural analysis regarding the life cycle of the Kingsville Recreation Complex and Arena. The primary uses for the recreation complex are sports user groups, which rent spaces based on their membership and schedules. As noted, the Parks and Recreation Yard and Workshop are co-located at the rear of the arena. This primary work area for town parks and rec staff houses all parks and recreation equipment, trucks, tractors, mowers, a workshop, as well as storage of picnic tables, garbage, recycling cans, clay, gravel, wood chips, fuel, and chemical storage. Financial consideration. The replacement value for facilities within the Kingsville Recreation Complex includes anybody in the market for an arena?
No.
Swallow this pill. $16,640,000 for the arena. $126,000 for the outdoor pavilion. Where's the outdoor pavilion?
Across the street by the
washrooms. Sorry, yeah. I don't call it a pavilion. It's a snack shack and washrooms. $688,750 for park storage and related facilities. So the discussion for needing assessment. Or the needs assessment. Kingsville Recreation Complex is aging, but has benefited from some capital investment over the years. Sports fields have been upgraded through grant and town capital funding, though they are not drained, as is common for sports fields, which causes issues in the spring, in particular when fields are most heavily used, as commented by the two individuals to my left.
Yep.
Arena upgrades have included new chiller, dehumidifier, and other life cycle replacements, but have not captured broader needs associated with the age of the facility. This is evidenced in an unexpected and unplanned ice pad replacement project in 23. Based on the age of the facility, the engineering assessments, the arena roof is nearing the end of its life. Of course it is. And will likely need replacing in coming years. Ice plant compressors require reconditioning and replacement. One scheduled for 23-24. The general condition of the lobby and washrooms, which do not meet accessibility requirements, offices, canteen, user groups, storage areas, and other spaces in the arena, is dated and will require upgrades. As reported in the PRAC Master Plan in 18 across Essex County, including Windsor, the average provision rate of municipal arenas is estimated at one ice pad per 11,400 residents. Kingsville's provision ratio is 1 to 22,500 residents. Further, the plan reported that approximately 1/3 of households participated in hockey or figure skating, and through And though across Canada, ice sport participation has stabilized or is declining, Kingsville ice user groups all note their membership is increasing. More about the PRAC master plan. There's a lot of information there. That's a $16 million pill to swallow.
Yeah.
So I see the value. That is like the epicenter of where recreation occurs in the town. And yeah, it morphed from the original old steel barn that we had, and we had that, was it Hockey Town or Hockeyville?
Yeah.
And there was the new addition of the new lobby, and then the upstairs facilities with the extra offices.
Just so we're clear, because it's funny. I was talking about this with my wife, and she's like, "Well, didn't they just win all that money to redo the arena?" No, the Hockeyville paid for the sign.
Yeah. Yeah, but it brought attention to the facility.
But yeah,
it was a lovely sign.
Hockeyville paid for like the Kingsville Arena sign.
Yeah, what did we get?
That was it.
It was a sponsorship. Yeah, I know, but it was like 25 or 50 grand or something like that.
Yeah, it was like, I think 150. Or was that the?
And then we have Domino's
like
sponsorship,
16
right?
years ago.
Yeah,
Which surprises me that it's not supposed. It's supposed to be called the Domino's Kingsville Recreation Complex, isn't it? Wasn't that part of the deal? Like as in Leamington,
right? Yeah, they have the name rights in the front of the building.
So why?
So they got to put the sign on there, or they should be referring to
in the report. In the report, they should probably be referring.
Domino's.
Isn't that interesting?
Domino's. There you go. Here's some free Domino's.
There you go, Mr. Schlater.
Yes, I apologize. It was not written that way in the report. Yeah. You got to figure out a way to make it work, right? That area of town has been far developed and invested in, right, with the new school being adjacent to it. It has to. There has to be a master plan of how to keep that facility in operation effectively for future use, or you build it on the west side of town where everything isn't.
Well, so Mr. Fink was the manager of the Atlas Tube Center, and when the Atlas Tube Center was being considered by the town of Lakeshore, I was covering council in Lakeshore at the time, and there was a number of proposals that came forward. The one they finally settled on, they had reserve funds available, so a lot of it came from capital reserves to pay for the Atlas Tube Center.
Yep.
But it was hard to get from council and from administration actual number on the operating dollars. How much would it cost additional for operations of the Atlas Tube Center? And then the reserves had to be replenished. So moving forward, the cost to replenish those reserves. So the year the Atlas Tube Center opened, the taxes in the town of Lakeshore went up 7%.
Yeah. That's a kick in the pants.
7% 1 year, and it was almost wholly due to the Atlas Tube Center.
Huh? Plan. You don't even need to say anything. Moving on. Kingsville South Fire Station. Yeah, I know, Steve, but that's an episode on its own.
Yeah.
Like after the report is done, we'll have a breakdown about all of what's happening. Right. Like 17th and beyond.
Onward.
Well, and sorry, again, Committee of the Whole is directing staff to hire an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
So Committee of the Whole is telling administration to hire someone to conduct this review. Yep. That's not anything that will ever go to council.
Nope. Kingsville South Fire Station, 1720 Division Street North. Recommended action. Administration be directed to obtain an engineering report for a structural analysis regarding the life cycle of the Kingsville South Fire Station at 1720 Division Road. Capital replacement value of the property set at $3.92 million. It's houses the fire truck, apparatus, meeting space, kitchen, facilities, offices, mezzanine storage, no space for outdoor training or indoor training. Meeting space is limited. Storage also limited to a mezzanine above the office spaces. Overall, the fire station building and site will not meet future needs of the fire department.
They will gain a little bit of extra room soon.
Yeah, when the ambulance moves over to the new station.
But again, minimal.
So, needs assessment, several interior renovations to the fire station's administrative space to create an efficient and functional office environment. The fire station is located on a perimeter residential neighborhood. The fire station is now 32 years old and requiring substantial financial investment. For example, new garage doors are required. $50,000 estimated. In addition, the facility's HVAC system is nearing end of life with a replacement of part of the system required in 23 at a cost of $23,000. In addition, the concrete floor in the Bay Area shows signs of increased deterioration. The training room is beyond the capacity for the number of fire services staff, and there is limited storage space. Footprint of the fire service station cannot accommodate the outside training exercises. The fire service facility now and into the future will require sufficient financial investment just to remain functional. Kingsville Fire is also undertaking an update to its fire master plan that will study the current status of fire services levels and will recommend proactive strategies for the next 5 to 10.
Well, I'm sure this is on the radar, but I mean, other municipalities, Leamington has just the one station. I'm not right. Leamington has one.
Yeah, they have a long-term plan to open another one.
Okay. Essex has 3, I believe. There's one in Central Essex. There's one out
Gesto.
There's that Gesto, and then there's one in Harrow.
Yeah.
Lakeshore has like 75.
Well, Lakeshore is huge, obviously.
Yeah.
It was, and then I'm sure this is going to be nothing new to those connected with the fire department, but I know it has been discussed over the years about another smaller station in the Ruthven area.
Why? Why? You don't need anything municipal in Ruthven.
200.
And this is
put it in the library.
Why do you have to go there?
Just put it in the library.
Yeah,
let's
put a bowling lane in there too while we're at it.
Well, we lost them, right? It's
right.
Church.
So that's
no.
But okay, so
yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. In fact, that as the town grows west and as the town grows, well, it's growing both east and west. There's going to be more of a need either side of division in order to service that sufficiently. I would argue on the west side of town with the planned expansion of all of those neighborhoods, the ring road, right? The connection from Road 2 to...
Yeah, and that was that was going to be sort of my next point too, because you could argue that with Ruthven, based on the current location of the South Station, a quick trip down Road 2 and you're there.
Correct. So
going to the west, it's a little trickier because...
Yeah, but you could have a discussion with the town of Essex where the town offers to increase capacity at the North Station to help cover off some of the town of Essex and have a shared service agreement with Harrow to respond on the west side.
Sure, and I don't know the ins and outs of it all, but you could simply construct. But you could have basically house a truck or two on the west side, and because there's going to be volunteer firefighters in that end of town. So anytime there's an incident in that end of town, you've got a couple of volunteers who can quickly person that vehicle and be sort of the lead at the scene.
If you had some spare space, throw a couple salt domes back there and
just spread it out.
Stop it.
It'll be interesting to see what the fire master plan says. But here's the first real good one. Okay. Lions Hall, 23 Mill Street West.
Yep.
Recommended action. This is juicy. The committee of the whole recommend to council the demolition of the Lions Hall building at 21 Main Street West, Kingsville, Ontario, after all tenants have been given reasonable time to relocate. 2, that administration be directed to develop a 10-year agreement with the Lions Club of Kingsville for use of an alternative municipal facility for their monthly meetings and special events. And 3, administration be directed to include a washroom facility, ensuring that all AODA guidelines are addressed with the goal of construction by May 2025, subject to capital budget funding. So we're all aware where the Lions Hall is. The capital replacement value of the property is set at $3.4 million.
seems insane.
Excessively insane. Like, if you've been in that building, it's a lovely little building, but $3.4 million, I don't know about that. And I don't know how much property that they're counting. If it's all the gravel parking lot and that, okay, maybe.
Like, and does that include like paving and draining the parking lot
or the park?
Like, so let's acknowledge the fact that one of the reasons behind this study is, or one of the things that's come out of this study is you've got several different community groups meeting at several different locations across the municipality.
Yeah.
Once a week, once a month. I don't know how often some of them meet. Maybe they take breaks in the summer. I understand where this one's coming from too. I get it. I mean, the not-for-profit, are they still operating?
Access, yeah. Access County Community Sports Services, funded through donations and grants. Sports the Keys Early Years Steps,
Yep.
Ontario Early Years Center, free drop-in play literacy program for children. The Early Years Steps, Ontario Early Years Center, moving to the new school in 24-25.
Yes.
And the town uses a little bit of the space there for storage.
Okay, so my hope is that if the town, if council decides and administration decides that yes, we're going to demo this, I hope that they are also turning around where it says as soon as they can find new accommodations, that they are assisting with finding them new accommodations. That they're not just going to say, okay, you know what, in 3 months we're knocking this building down, you better find a new home. And I don't think that they wouldn't certainly phrase it that way, but that they're providing some sort of assistance, because while, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's probably a small part of our overall population that's using maybe the Keys, and then another small population with the Lions Club. Add it all up, and it becomes far more significant. Add up the two other clubs that are impacted by another building that's still to come.
Sure. And and part of what you're missing, Steve, sorry to cut you off, is in 2022, there was an assessment done on that facility about everything that is in disrepair and what would need to be replaced over a 10-year period. The masonry is broken. The roofing system is gone. Interior finishes are poor. Washrooms don't meet AODA standards. No designated use for the facility in its entirety. HVAC is on its last legs. The lighting, like, it's an old building. And then, you know, with the park's revitalization at Lions Park, to have that building in its current state doesn't do it justice.
Yeah.
So
whether or not the replacement value seems
at $3.4 million.
Yeah. But I agree with you.
And this wasn't originally a town building. This was donated by the Lions Club.
I do find it interesting, though, that the recommendations for this one specifically spell out a 10-year agreement with the Lions Club, where the recommendations for the Rebecca Lodge and for the Friendly Club, which we're going to be talking about in a minute, don't have any term associated with it.
No.
Now, obviously, there is a contractual obligation to the town when the Lions Club conveyed that property that they have to meet, and which I'm sure is why there's a specific term tied to that discussion instead of the other discussions. But it just seems kind of weird that you wouldn't. Like, I get it. I get it. The Lions Club is different than the Friendly Club, but at the same time, like,
still a service group.
It's still a service group.
Yeah.
I know I mentioned this, and again, we still have to reach the Unico building.
We're going.
But hold on, if I can. I think I did share this story once, but just as a reminder that there are people who do like facilities in the downtown core, simply because, particularly in the wintertime for those meetings. And again, these are some older people. They don't like driving at night. They don't like driving longer distances. They're happy to go from their home to, 2 minutes away, uptown, well lit.
Do we know any large meeting spaces in the
all right,
Town
Dave,
of Kingsville?
onward, Dave.
Carnegie Arts and Visitor Center, 28 Division Street South. The recommended action: the administration be directed to begin consultation with the Business Improvement Area Board of Management to relocate their offices and storage from the lower level of the building to make the lower level space available for broader community usage, such as programming, classes, and group meetings. And that, too, the Committee of the Whole recommends that the council rename the building to be known as the Kingsville Carnegie Art Gallery.
So I would assume this is where the Rebecca Lodge and Friendly Club would go.
I would assume so as well.
Maybe the Lions Club.
2 revenue streams for the Carnegie: a percentage of sales generated from the Art Society of Kingsville, approximately $5,700 in 2022, and the rental from the Business Improvement Area, BIA, $3,600 annually. The capital replacement value for the Carnegie building, which is that not a heritage building?
What's a heritage building?
Yeah,
$1.3 million.
Oh, that's crazy. So
with that property,
with an elevator.
Okay,
there's an elevator,
and it just had. Wait, I think the Lions Hall. There has to be a typo.
That can't. Yeah,
that can't be.
You can't
the facade was, and the
Yeah, but you're looking at replacing the building. You're not looking to like construct it as is.
Correct.
To reconstruct.
Yeah, but you're looking
like
to
that.
replace
it.
It doesn't need to be like it needs to be built to proper, but same square footage.
Right,
and
it's not a huge building.
But I don't think you could replace it for $1.3 million. Look at some of the houses on Blue Jay, right?
Yeah, but we all know how inflated home prices have been in the last few years.
I'm just saying maybe that the replacement value assessment of the Carnegie is a little bit odd, especially because it's a heritage building.
Yeah,
anyway,
it has $50,000 way off the top for the elevator.
Carnegie building renovated in 2011. Remains in excellent condition. No major facility issues related to the building. Improvements to the electrical system reduce the number of outlets on the same break. Blah blah blah. These are no telephone in the art gallery. What is a telephone? Key box. Blah. Heating and cooling inconsistent. Established an annual form. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, move some community groups in there.
Heating and cooling. I guess Carnegie wasn't so smart.
Ridgeview Fieldhouse is another juicy one. 124 Fox Street, Cottam, Ontario. Recommended action. The Committee of the Whole recommend the Council to demolish the Ridgeview Park Fieldhouse located on 124 Fox, and the administration be directed to purchase 3 temporary storage units for the Cottam Baseball Association, the Cottam Soccer Association, and the Cottam Rotary Club to store their equipment on site. And 3, the administration be directed to undertake a Cottam facility needs analysis, which will include public consultation and a site master plan for Ridgeview Park. The Ridgeview Park Fieldhouse and Pavilion replacement value $1.336 million. So okay, you get the Carnegie, or you got the Fieldhouse,
or you could have. So the Fieldhouse is the equivalent of, or the Lions Hall is the equivalent of 3 Fieldhouses.
Correct.
Okay.
Pavilion is dated and is at the end of life. Full roof replacement required, and new interior furnishings, doors, door frames, etc. are in need of replacement. Furnace and air conditioning units are also scheduled for replacement. Frequent vandalism to the washrooms, splash pad, and grounds, and the wooden outdoor pavilion is in need of replacement due to rotting wood beams and damage to the structure. Staff undertake regular maintenance and replacement, but the outdoor pavilion, like the indoor spaces, is exceeding its life cycle. Cottam's recreation complex is aging, but has benefited from some capital investment over the years. Sports fields have been upgraded through grant and town capital funding, although they're not drained, as is common for sports fields, which causes issues in the spring. And they got a splash pad before the actual town did, too. So, there's that there.
I get it. I see. The part I don't like is 3 temporary storage.
Yeah.
No, to me, that report needs to say demolish and rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've refed in Cottam, and I've covered events in Cottam, and for a growing community, and again, I don't want people thinking I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, because in one breath I'm saying close Ruthven's library, but I also agree with closing Cottam's, which is coming up. Well, you've got Essex.
It's the next one.
No,
Okay,
no, I know.
Yeah.
But this is a hub of activity, and you know what? Vandalism happens all over, and sure, there's frequent vandalism there, unfortunately. But I really don't like the recommendation on this. Sure, demolish it based on the needs, or maintain what you can of the basic structure and make those renovations. But don't you dare turn around and give them 3 storage, because that is a slap in the face to the people of Cottam, in my mind.
Also, can you tell me what a temporary storage bin is? Because they're purchasing something that's temporary. So isn't that just a storage bin, or did these ones disappear after 2 years?
Hey, they melt.
Yeah,
it's
they
a shipping
melt down.
It's a shipping container.
Buy 3 shipping containers.
Well, and the optics are terrible. I mean, it's a nice park. The diamonds are good. It's fun to go there and watch soccer or watch baseball and the horse show. And
what councillor put the splash pad in Cottam first? Was that
Gort Queen pushed for it. I know that.
Right. So there's sentiment that the municipality and council want to invest in Cottam, and now, to your point, we're just gonna tear it down and then give you some temps with no intention of assigning a deadline or timetable for replacement.
It says what does it say? Something about a study or a report.
Facility
No,
review.
they need to know that if you're going to take that building away, and I say they as in like they're like those other people of Kingsville. No, the residents of Cottam need to know that if you're going to take this down, that you're going to give them something bigger and better, or certainly better. Yeah. Rather than just 3 storage bins.
Well, Steve, that's not all. The Cottam Community Center at 122 Fox Street recommended action. The Committee of the Whole recommend the council the demolition of the Cottam Community Center in Ridgeview Park, and that, too, the administration be directed to undertake a Cottam facility needs analysis, which will include public consultation and discussions with municipal partners, such as the Essex County Library. The facility currently houses the Cottam branch of the Essex County Library, which uses approximately 45% of the building, 3,000 square feet. Over time, the remainder of the building is used to house a school, municipal offices, theater group, mad science, and a daycare, but has been vacant since 21. Go figure, because everything was shut down, right? Like, you couldn't do stuff. There's more stuff there. Capital replacement value of the property set at $2.546 million. Needs assessment. Kingsville hired Engineering Corporation to complete a building assessment report in 22. The report identified a number of major repairs: cracking of the masonry, roofing system poor, cracking in the exterior chimney, and corroding metal siding. Windows and entry systems deteriorated. Interior finishes ranging from good to poor. Washrooms not meeting requirements for accessibility. HVAC functional but aged. Lighting system functional but aged. Yada, 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 yada.
I'm going to go back real quick to the Ridgeview Park Pavilion. 3-star. Where does it say anything about washrooms? You've got kids who are out there for several hours, and adults, people need facility. It doesn't say, let's put in some porta-johns. Can you imagine taking a building down and putting 3 storage containers and 4 porta-johns? Like, you've invested in the park in different ways, and then you're going to make it look like the back streets of wherever. No, this to me, this is one seriously flawed part of the report.
Well, hey, you forgot the recommendation where it says Committee of the Whole recommend council declare that they hate Cottam.
Yeah, there's...
Oh, Kevin.
But so in one fell swoop, right? The 2 things in that park. Goodbye, guy. Get out of here. Get.
Right. And the municipality has spent 25 years basically trying to say, Cottam, you're part of Kingsville. And they've done a good job, because at the start, it wasn't pretty.
Right.
And then, you're going to turn around and just say, no, we're going to take this building, and here's 3 storage containers. And by the way, there's a little row of trees there if you have to go to the bathroom.
So I don't disagree that it should be demolished, but to your point, it should be demolished with a replacement.
Yes.
Yeah.
So combine the 2, make the facility handle both needs, assign the washrooms, have a multi-use area of that facility that the Rotary and other community groups in Cottam, I almost said Ruthven, Cottam, can use that also support the sporting utilization in the groups there.
And if you look at where the diamonds and soccer fields are in Cottam, the current location of the pavilion is perfect because it's central. It's not like everyone's having to go from the far fields to where the current community building is. So
back to
I don't know that layout too well. Is the splash pad there? Is that where the splash pad is?
So, a little bit. So if you come into Ridgeview Park, you're going to drive by a soccer field and a baseball diamond. And then the pavilion would be on your left. And then you've got the entire parking lot. And then there's sort of an open area and a park structure, park equipment. And then the splash pad is just beyond that.
So is there washrooms and change room at the splash pad?
It's in the pavilion.
So isn't there? No. There's a small building right beside the splash park.
Pump house.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, there you go. You can just go pee in the splash pad. Well, honestly, though, where are you going to change if you want to go to a splash pad?
Right, like look at
your car.
Yeah.
Seacliff Park. Anyway, back to the town of Kingsville, Unico Community Center, 37 Beach Street. The recommended action that 1. Committee of the Whole recommend to Council that the Unico Community Center be deemed as surplus to the needs of the municipality as per policy, and 2, that administration be directed to obtain a market appraisal of the Unico Community Center and sell the property. 3, that the treasurer be directed to deposit the proceeds of the sale of the Unico Community Center to the facility reserve for future use, and 4, administration be directed to meet with the Friendly Cub and the Rebecca Lodge and offer alternative meeting locations and other facilities per usage policies. Town bought it in 2010 for approximately $700,000. Current capital replacement value of the property is set at $1.145 million. Following groups provided donations to the town to assist with the initial purchase and renovation. So 45 G's from Unico Foods, $2,500 from Friendly Club, and $1,000 from the Lily Rebecca's. So the discussion, the needs assessment based on observation and staff maintenance reports, the ceiling tiles showing signs of water issues. Suggests issues with the roofing system, as well the brick siding and the front entrance deteriorating. Sorry, there's a lot here.
Is that building not connected to the old Big V?
Yeah.
It is connected,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But they're two separate properties?
Yeah, so it used to be Woodsley Credit Union years ago.
Right.
It was Big V Woodsley Credit Union, then it was A&A Flooring Woodsley Credit Union. Then the town had the opportunity to purchase it, and they did, and they had big plans. And I guess the best way to look at this for me is simply out of how many hours in a week? 168?
Holy.
No.
Is that true?
I don't know.
Math.
That can't be right.
24,
right?
7 days, 140, 168. 168 hours a week.
Okay.
How many of those 168 hours is it actually in use? And to me, that's the telling sign. If it's in use for 6 of 100, if it's idle for 162 hours, let's say, or 150 hours, goodbye.
Yeah, and I agree as well. I think that there are so many other different facilities that, yes, albeit they're in different locations around town. The Domino's Kingsville Recreation Complex, the Carnegie.
Now, in their defense, of the 168, only about 84 of them are daylight, so the users couldn't drive during the other times.
Or you're not gonna meet at 3 a.m.
Right.
No, but
that's more the line.
The only other thing I would suggest for this is renovate it. And you're talking about, I don't know what they have to store. When it says they need storage, are we talking vehicles? Are we talking outdoor stuff? Are we talking the fantasy lights?
Probably tables.
You could use that for storage.
Sure.
Simply a storage.
That's way too expensive to use for storage. In downtown, sell it. I thought this one, it was a weird one when they bought it.
Yeah. I know why and I know, Steve, I know why
they wanted more meeting space but
because they wanted to draw people into town, and it just never materialized because everybody forgets it's there.
Yeah.
It's small. It's too small to use for any kind of an event, right? That's why we didn't have the Meet the Candidates there, because you can't house anybody in it. You're not going to use it for like a wedding reception because it doesn't have any facility to use for catering or anything, right? Like it's something that just doesn't fit completely the needs of what would be necessary for any group.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Friendly Club and Lily Rebecca's would beg to differ, but again,
6 hours out of 168,
and they could go to the Kingsville Carnegie Art Gallery,
soon to be. OPP Station, 41 Division Street South. Recommended action. Committee of the Whole recommend the council demolition of the OPP station. That the administration be directed to prepare a report on potential options for use of the site, including market appraisal, and that administration be directed to prepare a report in consultation with the OPP on potential options for relocation of the OPP into a new or renovated existing facility. OPP Station until 98 was also the Kingsville Municipal Building, which is currently Town Hall, but then it moved uptown. Currently, the OPP Station includes a number of open and closed offices, cells, storage areas, male and female washrooms/locker rooms, fitness room, general meeting rooms, and reception area. OPP has identified a number of issues and concerns that the building is no longer meeting its service or business practice needs. There's a long list of everything. So they said it needs $2.9 million worth of renovations, and the estimate of the capital replacement value is $2.35 million.
Town Hall worried me. This one scares me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. Just one sec. What was the capital replacement value?
2.35.
So the Lions Hall would cost more to rebuild than the OPP station?
Yeah, with jail cells and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total
Moving
sense. Okay.
Yeah, oh man. Yeah, exactly. No, that's how I feel. I just no, it's worrying. Because we still have a couple more facilities on here, and I don't know what we are at cost-wise.
Well, at this one, they would combine fire department and OPP into a new building.
Yeah,
you would
they
think,
would
right?
Have to.
Then you sell off that piece of property downtown, which sucks because it's a nice park. And
Yeah. Well, what do you do with Jack? Right? He's kicking it out there
Yeah.
in front,
There'll be plenty. Put him across the street at the Carnegie. That's perfect.
Good idea. Or put him out at
yeah, it's the new art gallery, so it's good to put it in the.
Well, no, it
on the
would
lawn
be
there.
perfect there. He needs to be downtown and central.
He does.
Yeah.
Now that he's gold.
Well, man, but then where? I want is there a 6th story we can say no, we're not because we need an OPP and a fire hall? No, seriously though,
Yeah. Well, sorry, Steve. I apologize. There was talk and there's rumor that if the Town of Kingsville buys the high school property, that there's this talk of consolidating town hall, fire services, police services, multi-use facility on that property.
Well, they can't.
I understand that, but everybody seems to think that this is the Swiss Army knife of all these solutions.
You can't put they just in the facility review reference why they can't have a public works yard in town hall in the same spot as the reason why they need to move town hall. So they can't put the fire department and police station and town hall in the same spot because it's the exact same problem.
Big property.
Yeah, but still, it's
Well,
are
we keeping Migration Hall based on this?
I don't know.
I mean, okay, so let's say, if we could examine this really quickly, hypothetically, let's say Migration Hall stays and it just becomes a separate property. So you've got more than 2 soccer fields worth of property in behind the actual high school, which could be your town hall. And then you could have the OPP because you want fast access. To me, I like where the fire station is in one sense, because again, you've got easy, think about the number of crashes on Highway 3. Okay. You've got both stations would respond to that. So the north has got quick access from Cottam, and then at least the south has straight up division. They've got easy access to Ruthven. And if they have to go west, Road 2, McCain, Road 2, Arner, depending on the location of the incident. You put it in town like it used to be, where it was right downtown where Dr. Jacobs' office is. That's where the old Kingsville fire station was. We already have a traffic problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're asking fire trucks now to pull out and again, the school is moved at this point, obviously, but you're asking fire trucks to pull out to try and get out onto that street. You would have the entire population of Ruthven surrounding in the immediate vicinity of the fire hall.
Right. The 240 people in those 6-story buildings.
So I'm fine with the town hall. That it makes sense that could be that welcoming sort of whatever. But I would never put a fire hall on that property.
No.
Similarly, I don't know what the response time is with the OPP. I mean, they're good and maybe it's a good location for them in one sense. But again, I wouldn't want the OPP there.
Would you want the OPP next to a condo building where people can just stare in at the OPP station all day?
No.
There was in the town of Lindsay, there was an issue where a biker gang had purchased a building and they were renting at the bottom, but the reason they had purchased the building was because the upper floors had an apartment on it and they could look and watch everything that was happening at the Lindsay police station. And that was it. Was everyone in the town at the time. I'm talking 20 years ago, but everyone in the town at the time knew that's what was happening. The police knew it, and so they could tell exactly when the police were in, when they were out. How many cars are on the road? Are there some cars back? Are they light staff that day? You would know anyone that was sitting there in a condo building, just looking down at the police station would know all that information.
I'm going to jump ahead. I'm going to go there. We got 3 to go. Two are kind of rivals. One's on its own. Kingsville Highline Library, 40 Main Street West. See, there's the sponsorship in the name.
Oh, nice. Yep.
Recommended action that the administration be directed to obtain a market appraisal for the Kingsville Highline Library.
Notice how they get the sponsor in the name?
Yeah, and the Unico building.
Yeah. And the unit, which that ended years ago. Library provides public library services from all ages and senior citizens, or all ages from preschool to senior citizens. The library currently has approximately 3,000 active memberships, down from 48, 28, and 22 as a result of the purge of inactive accounts. Sorry, that was me. Yeah. Not been cleared prior to COVID. The library projects its 2023 tangible circulation to be 60,672, an increase from 57,164 in 2022. Replacement value of the property is set at $4.56 million. Needs assessment, no immediate facility issues. In keeping with the Main Street strategy, there's no strategy. It is suggested that the main doors of the library be relocated to the front Main Street to align main doors with other businesses and support the Main Street character. I'm going to say 100%. The report did not ever say move the doors from the side to the front on the library. It was that any new structures get built, that the doors face Main, not to relocate an existing building. That's out of context.
So there's two things. One, I was going to talk about the doors real quick too. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Walking into that library, the desk is right there, and it's just beautiful. There's one mistake in this report, though. It says the building's second floor also contains the Kingsville Archives, operated by volunteers for the Kingsville Gosfield Heritage Society. The archives is actually on the northwest part of the ground floor.
Is there a second story?
I believe there is.
I don't know.
Did they add it? Because there wasn't when it was a bargain shop.
They must have. I don't know.
Or a bingo hall, or whatever else. It's the grocery store.
Gary, is there a second story on that building? I don't think so.
Well,
It's books.
Yeah, but
Flat roof.
they made when they renovated.
Yeah.
But they just made it peak.
I don't know. Maybe there is, but anyway, that's
all right.
just a mistake in the report.
So yeah, they just want to know, if we got to hawk this in a hustle, how much is it worth for us?
I would
say
never.
shut all the
I would
libraries
never.
down. Shut them all down.
That's what Google's for. All right, last two. Thanks for listening. Thanks for staying with us.
We're almost there.
Yeah. Have your say, Kingsville.ca.
Why isn't the Kingsville North Fire Station in this report?
That's a great question.
They don't own it? Right?
Maybe they
Anyway.
would have to own that.
I have no idea.
Maybe it's just
They didn't want to
nothing
open
wrong
that can of worms.
Well, they already want to close too. They're not.
They didn't want to
They need to keep something on Fox Street or wherever it is.
Is there a public works yard up there too? Don't they have a garage up there? No?
No, the OPP has a small little office in downtown Cottam.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's the county facilities out on Road 4.
Oh, that's probably what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think
And that's past Sunbright, sorry. Yeah.
All right, last two. Lakeside Pavilion, 315 Queen Street. Recommended action that administration be directed to undertake engineering and replacement of the lake-facing outdoor patio and upgrade washroom and kitchen facilities subject to budget approvals, and that, too, the administration be directed to complete an electrical servicing needs study for Lakeside Park and Pavilion to address the needs of outdoor events and festivals and indoor electrical servicing needs. Pavilion and Park are focal points of the town's special events, in particularly the Fantasy Lights. The Park and Pavilion have also hosted the Folk Music Festival as well as Highland Games. Lakeside Pavilion is used by the community for weddings, personal celebrations, auctions, and children's events. And there was a new splash pad put up right beside it. Lakeside Pavilion is one of the Kingsville's unique gathering locations. In 2022, there were 28 weddings at Lakeside Pavilion. 28. There's how many 52?
52.
So more than half of them, you got weddings. Kate.
I'm excited for them to tell us how many weddings were at the Grovedale.
I think that is omitted. The operating expenses include in labor and other expenses associated with the general park maintenance. Capital replacement value of the property is set at $3.454 million.
So
the
hold
Lions, the Lions Hall is equivalent to the Pavilion. Again,
it's got to be a typo.
it's got to be.
It's got to be a typo.
Or a misunderstanding of what that assessment value includes. If it's the entire property for the Lions Hall, like all that acreage and the new park and everything, then
you would never have to replace acreage.
I don't know.
The building itself is quite large, like the Lions Hall. It's sort of deceptive when you think about how it's broke. It's sort of
Yeah, it's broken up.
piecemealed in a way.
All right.
No, well, I mean, because the far end is where the Lions Club, so the south end, I think the Lions Club still meet.
North. The north end. South end is Keys. And
No.
Rotary.
There's another little, yes, where I think the Lions still meet in there too.
okay.
And there's a kitchen at that end, at the southwest part.
Oh,
and then you've got where access is and into Keys. And then there's the whole sort of bigger area. And then there's the entranceway. And then there's the washrooms. So it's a compartmentalized building, if you will, about 5 or 6 different pieces.
Yeah.
And it's sort of deceptive as to how big it is.
So they're saying the pavilion, based on observations and staff notes, the roof of the pavilion is known to leak. However, staff have not been able to locate the cause. Well,
Right.
yeah, water ingress.
Oh my God, that's great.
The outdoor patio on the lake is also sliding and cracking. Contractors attending the site have advised that due to the slope, the patio would continue to slide and recommend that it be considered for replacement and engineered with deep footings to address slope issues. In addition, the pavilion washrooms and kitchen, though functional, are dated and require updating and renovation to be more functional for users. Lighting, utilities, and other services similarly require updating.
It's basically one of 2 buildings that they can never get rid of.
I was just going to say, it's like this is
What would you consider the other one?
The Carnegie.
Carnegie.
Those two? Yeah.
Yeah, the Carnegie has farther reaching because of what Carnegie did in the libraries in small towns, right?
Yeah.
Like that.
I don't disagree. I just
Yeah. You can't. You cannot get rid of the pavilion.
No.
Like and the argument was made that there were so many different needs for the pavilion that we had to go build another building because it was over capacitized and overused. But
capacitized. Practicable.
So that brings us to we all agree. It's got to be invested in. It's got to be renovated. You got to do it, right?
Hire an engineer, find out the cause of the roof leaks. You know, we can stand up there and watch the rain. There's the rain. All right.
Make sure the patio doesn't slide off into the lake and we're good.
Yeah.
Some things you just have to do. You just have to.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Maintenance is. Yeah.
That would be like tearing down the CN Tower in Toronto.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't do that.
It's a defining thing.
You hire an engineer and you get him to stop at the top and see if it's raining.
What the problem is. Which, last
The problem is this rain.
Thanks everyone for staying. This is an epic one. Grovedale Arts and Culture Center, and I gotta read this whole one. I gotta read this whole one.
Love this one.
The recommended action that administration be directed to develop an operation and business plan to address the operations at the Grovedale Arts and Culture Center located at 103 Park Street with an emphasis on community usage, arts, music, and culture, and with reduced emphasis on weddings, and other private functions.
So, and I know you're going to get into it, and we're going to talk about this for a bit, but shouldn't they have that? Like, shouldn't that be a thing that already exists?
It does. Many times over.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Background. The facility description. The Grovedale Arts and Cultural Center is located on the former site of the King's Landing, formerly Grovedale House, and within Meadowas Park. Grovedale is an approximately 7,000 square foot, 1.5-story steel-framed building constructed in 2019. The building includes a large multi-use room with a balcony as a second floor, washrooms, a warming kitchen, an elevator, and small storage room. Inside and outside architecture decor reflect a heritage value to the former Grovedale house. Heritage value. The building's location within the Meadowas Park enhances the public's experience of arts and culture and enjoyment of walking in a lake. What?
Yeah, that's nonsense. What? It doesn't even look at the lake.
This is where they made their money.
The capital replacement value, get ready, hold on to your britches. Replacement value of the property is set at $5.25 million.
How many fixings can you do with that money?
Replacement value for the contents of the building is assessed at $200,000 in addition to $40,000 of IT equipment, and they have IT connectivity issues. So they got $40,000 worth of IT equipment.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of IT, and they can't
have a council meeting out of it.
They can't do video.
And broadcast it. Facility use. The vision and mandate of the Grovedale Arts and Cultural Center since opening has not been clearly defined. The facility hosts weddings and community meetings, art workshops, and a wide variety of private rentals that generate revenue in order to pay for said building's operating costs. That's my... Yeah. In 2018, Parks and Recreation Arts and Culture Master Plan reported that 64% of the survey respondents wanted to see cultural events staged at Grovedale Arts and Culture Center. 51% wanted concerts. 54% wanted to have arts and craft shows. 54% wanted to have workshops. In 2018, Parks, Recreation, Arts, and Culture Master Plan recommended the town provide a higher level of cultural opportunities to visitors and residents of the town, with only 51% of residents currently satisfied with existing cultural opportunities in Kingsville. So let's build a building! Discussion. Here you go, Kev.
They did the survey and they collected everything, and then they're like, nope. Needs assessment. Get ready, Steve, Kev. This is the fun part we teased on the last episode.
Blood boils.
Though the building is relatively new, there are some issues observed by Parks and Recreation staff related to the building maintenance. This includes issues with the siding peeling off the building and water issues showing within the walls. The floor is pitted in areas which has led to cracking, and ceiling tiles showing signs of water leaking from the roof and the rain that hits it.
I would expect it at the pavilion.
It's from 2019. In addition, the style of siding selected requires contracting specialized cleaning equipment, as regular power washing damages the siding. Users and staff also note that the storage within the facility is limited and additional storage should be considered. Users also noted the kitchen space is undersized for their use. The town has invested in curtains to address audio issues within the facility, which was the COVID relief monies, as well as a small stage and other improvements to make the building more functional with minimal investment. As noted above, the building does not have a clear vision. Parks and Rec staff are tasked with increasing programming in town, with a focus on youth and seniors programming, increasing arts and culture, and with setup for weddings and other private rentals. Without clarity, the town has not been able to develop an operational or business plan for the Grovedale, as these uses are, at times, incompatible and competing with facilities offering similar opportunities in Kingsville, which was also noted as a need. Chicken scratching over there. All right, moving on.
Thing you just did.
Increasingly, the town of Kingsville is being recognized for its strong arts, music, and culture within the Windsor, Essex, and beyond. Recent data from Kingsville Music Society, for example, show that the annual music festival to be held at Meadowas Park has visitor spending of over $350,000 annually in the town of Kingsville, and over $200,000 spent in Kingsville to produce the event. It costs $200,000 to throw the Greenway Jam on? All right. These are visitor dollars from across Ontario, Canada, and the United States that benefit local businesses. Kingsville Music Society has also secured its own funding to support open streets. No, the town of Kingsville... Some of that. Anyway, Migration Festival and Fantasy Lights for arranging, providing music. Yes. These efforts have significantly raised the profile of Kingsville arts, but that doesn't. So.
No.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So the idea was, we're doing fast math here.
Doing some fast math.
Okay.
We're just seeing what the combined losses has been over the last 4 years.
Oh, golly. God, you guys are smart with that.
If these numbers
are correct, you pull it from the budget.
The brackets is the loss, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So they've lost roughly $75,000 in 4 years, on top of however much it was over budget.
Millions.
And
4.5 million it cost. It was supposed to cost what, $2?
Not even.
No,
not even.
So and all that money could have renovated how many buildings?
Steve just summarized the whole episode, so
sorry.
Done.
I didn't mean to jump the gun. I'm sorry. I just came. I'm just like looking at these numbers and.
Well, let's talk about operating expenses. So in 2019, and this is being pulled from the actual council report on this report, but the council version of it. It has the financials.
Yep.
And we've talked about this during our budget episodes as well. So in 2019, the Grovedale generated $6,000 in revenue. In 2020, $8,900 in revenue.
COVID.
2021, COVID, $11,325. 2022, they generated $43,788.
Half COVID.
Half COVID.
A quarter COVID. Anyway, yeah, 45 grand.
So that's 4 times, right? That's 4 times revenue on from 2021 to 2022. Operating expenses. So it cost in 2019 $23,893 to operate the Grovedale. In 2020, it cost $19,660. In 2021, it cost $32,449. And in 2022, it cost $68,932 to operate the Grovedale. Now, what they're charging to the Grovedale, I believe there's some staffing allocations for the programming,
yes.
Parks and Rec programming department. But they were able to increase their revenue from 2021 to 2022 for sure. And that'll be the argument. Well, before it was COVID, and now it wasn't COVID, and we'll be able to do more. But they also more than doubled their operating expenses. So if you go by the same formula, you're gonna keep costing more money, let alone the repairs.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
Does it make sense to operate? And this is the ongoing discussion that will come up forever about the Grovedale until they figure out some way to use it. But a building shouldn't cost you $70,000.
No. In fact, because again, the pretense of that building was the pavilion is so booked, we don't want to turn away more potential usage and investment in Kingsville. So we want a multi-use facility to be used by the arts and culture, groups, but also serves as a wedding venue. Verbatim. That's why they have a warming kitchen, which was supposed to facilitate that.
Yeah. Why can't it do everything that they already have listed there? Why aren't they doing that now? Aren't they? The Kingsville Music Society is already there.
Yeah.
It's not like they're building a stage in that building. Gary, you know better than all of us. Can they build a stage in the Grovedale?
I don't know, to be honest. But they did purchase scaffolding, I believe, to build a setup stage.
Yeah, it's just a riser stage.
Yeah, it's a riser.
Right.
But can you make a permanent stage in there? No.
No, well, yeah, exactly. And what are you're not replacing Migration Hall with the Grovedale. That's not reality.
Yeah, there's no stage, there's no seating.
There's no stage and seating. You can't see people properly in the Grovedale because of the second story and
sound acoustics.
Yeah. Even with the really expensive curtains that seem like the town got taken for a bit of a ride.
The COVID curtains?
The COVID curtains are underwhelming.
No recommendation to demolish on this one, though.
Yeah, that's weird.
5.45.
Why aren't we selling it? Why isn't the recommendation to sell it?
Who's going to buy it? Who's going to buy it at that value?
Mm-hmm.
It needs significant renovations to be utilized for the events that could possibly... And plus, they fail to mention that there's no interaction with the park. It says it's in the park, but it's not as a accessory to the park. The washroom facilities aren't open to the public in the park. So you got to build that again in Medawas Park. There's no outdoor patio and or access from the building to the park.
The balcony doesn't look at the park.
It looks at parks.
It's at the street, not the park.
Get to see all those trucks coming up the hill with their loads of gravel and sand and dust.
It's beautiful.
Steve, to your point, and you summarized it because we were all going to go there, right? You just
came out.
You just
I'm
jumped.
sorry.
No,
I didn't
that's
mean
fine.
to kill it.
No, you didn't kill it.
No,
sorry.
But that's the sentiment.
Yep.
We had the money. We had the ability to understand how to invest in what's more important in this facility, and it went to that building. If anything, that building should be the one that's on the chopping block, or converted into something that is of use in order to facilitate for the long run what we need, i.e. a police station or the town hall or something. You've invested $5 million in a building. We need $5 million worth of value out of it for the long run.
Doesn't have space for town hall. You can't build it up.
And if they can't fix all this, what's it going to cost over the next 10 years? Right? It's a money
giant sucking hole.
Whereas the pavilion, is a money generator, and you've got this thing all you got to do is figure out. There's a reason people have called it the mistake by the lake.
Oh, you used it, yes. So I thought that was stricken from the record.
I don't know.
Well, I didn't strike it. It was a bad idea.
July 17th, 5 p.m. Where is it?
At the Mistake by the Lake.
Oh, it is at the Grove.
Is it at the Grove?
Go see it in person.
They're trying anyway. Give them credit.
So we posted that there was the reception to the Committee of the Whole. Now there's the public consultation session happening July 17th, 2023, the Grovedale.
It's not a public consultation session. That is the Committee of the Whole meeting.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. No, there's no public. That's not a thing. There's no public consultation session. The Committee of the Whole.
I didn't read.
On July 17th, between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. is being asked by, now, again, we're going to go through the list of what the recommendations are from administration to the Committee of the Whole.
Yes.
So at 5 p.m. on July 17th, it's not going to be by video. And actually, it couldn't because it's at the Grovedale. They have $40,000 in IT equipment, but they're not able to stream from there. But they wouldn't anyway because Committee of the Whole isn't streamed.
Correct.
So you wouldn't have been able to watch it regardless. And they're holding it at 5 p.m. because maybe they're catering it. Like, are they gonna have a food truck outside? You can't have food inside because it's only a warming kitchen. So you'd have to have a food truck bring the food there, and then
a lot of people probably can't make it at 5 p.m. either.
Well, that seems weird, right?
So I'm not insinuating anything. I'm just sort of stating.
So if, and this is only if council approves all the recommendations as they are written in the reports, right?
Yes. As I read and
which is rare.
Yeah, which is rare. And I don't think that this will just get the rubber stamps on all of them, but this is what administration is saying. Tell us, this is what we want you to tell us to do.
Right.
So administration, if the recommendations are directing administration to begin the immediate process to sell the property of the Ruthven Library and the Unico Community Center. It's also telling administration to begin studies on a new town hall, a new public works yard, a Cottam facility needs analysis and Ridgeview Park site master plan, conduct an electrical servicing needs study for the interior and exterior of the Lakeside Pavilion, and provide a report on potential options for the OPP station. It would also direct administration to hire an engineer to review the Kingsville Arena, hire an engineer to review the South Fire Station, and hire an engineer to review the Lakeside Pavilion outdoor patio and washrooms. And then it also directs administration to meet with the Lions Club, meet with the BIA, meet with the Friendly Club, meet with the Lily Rebecca Lodge, and meet with the OPP. All of those are to discuss relocation. It would also direct administration to develop a brand new operations and business plan, which is surprising for the Grovedale Arts and Culture Center, purchase 3 quote-unquote temporary storage bins for Ridgeview Park, and get an appraisal of the OPP property. Then it also recommends that council approve the demolition of the Lions Hall, approve the demolition of the Cottam Fieldhouse, approve the demolition of the Cottam Community Center, and approve the demolition of the Kingsville OPP station. And then it recommends that council deem surplus the Unico Community Center, the Ruthven Library, and also that council rename the Carnegie to the Kingsville Carnegie Art Gallery. So that's the recommendations as laid out in the reports that Committee of the Whole will be considering at their July 17th, 5 p.m. meeting at the Grovedale.
It's going to be really, really interesting beyond this meeting. Because again, we've all enjoyed the fact that Kingsville has this low tax rate.
Yeah.
And Lakeshore's went up obviously with their new arena facility and everything that goes with that building. And you look at this report and sure, the town may benefit from selling some of the buildings. But long haul, when you look at a town hall, an arena that needs some serious upgrades, a new OPP station, potentially a new fire hall, and those are just 4 major buildings. Like the cost over time, and again, I don't know how long you can, debenture costs and stuff like that, but it's going to be, we're going to feel it, we're going to see it, and we're going to feel it. And if council adopts all of these, then they've still got to turn and say, okay, we have to up the tax rate 5% every year for the next however long. Maybe it's being a little bit dramatic, but it's on the horizon.
Well, they're not going to up the tax rate for a specific set of time. It's going to be upped, and then it's going to be that forever. Mm-hmm. But
no, I'm saying like every year it's going to go up like 5, right?
The interesting part, though, some of this stuff, and it'll be, I don't know the nuances of the law around it, but I wonder if you can say OPP station, fire station, potentially town hall are growth-driven expansions and use development charges, and then make the condo developers pay for it.
Sure. And maybe there's funds available from the province or the federal government for stuff like this that, can obviously offset some costs. But.
Because I think if council's going to do this, and where I think that they can save a little bit of face, is if they go and they say, you know what, we have to do this. We're going to pay for it through development charges, and any of the new developers that want to put up condo buildings or any of the new developments are going to be faced with these development charges that will pay for this the prescribed expansion. I know there are provincial regulations around development charges. It's not like you can just go out and deem anything because it's a charge. But I think the argument could easily be made that the OPP is going to have to expand patrols because we're going to have more residents. The fire department is going to have more requirements because they're going to have larger buildings they have to fight, fires they have to fight. And the town hall, the staff is growing because of the increased demand of services from an increased population.
Yeah.
So should that fall in the tax base, is probably the council could make the argument it's not appropriate. And I think residents can make the argument that it's not appropriate. And so if that's the case, then I would say move on this as fast as you can, even though it's difficult for the town to be able to digest it, because then you can make some of these larger scale developments have to pay for it.
And there'll be the argument that more residency means more tax dollars, and it does. Mm-hmm. But, is it still going to be enough for what's needed? I don't think so.
No, I wouldn't think so.
July 17th, 5 o'clock.
5 p.m.
Grovedale Arts and Culture Center.
They'll have the chairs out.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. In all sincerity, sticking with us. An hour and 40-minute-ish episodes, a lot to take in, and especially listening to us yammer.
Spread it out over the weekend.
Yeah.
Get your bathrooms clean. Right. Do whatever.
Pepper it in there.
You could probably tune out for like half of the middle.
Yeah, well.
No.
No.
You got to go the whole 140.
We probably should have told them before that.
Well, anyway. We will in the intro. Thanks, Gary, for production. Appreciate the services. Anybody, anything else, gents?
No. Sorry to keep you up, Gary.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to That Kingsville Podcast. Please like, subscribe. We are over 200 on YouTube. Woo. All right, only 980,000 million more to go before we retire. But thanks. Please spread the word. Tell your mom, tell your friends. Like, subscribe, tune in. Thanks again. See you next time.